Hello. So quite a few episodes ago now, and many countries ago, we did a Q&A where we asked each other's questions. We asked you to ask us questions you wanted answers to, and we finally got round to filming it. So we've got 10 questions that we're going to ask each other that you've asked us. So yeah, should we get going?
What's your biggest fear on this journey?
Kind of going back the same person, like not changing through this experience, not growing through this experience. One of the things I want to get out of this is learning different skills, a different way of living. So yeah, I think for me it would be going back unchanged.
Yeah, I think I feel very similar. I think it's the feeling of investing this much time and energy in doing something so special, but that we just go back the same. I don't think that there is a chance that will happen, but it's just that underlying feeling, because we probably don't notice every day how much we are changing and learning, but hopefully by the end of the journey we will see that it feels different.
What's been the most challenging moment so far?
That's an easy one. Definitely the change of vehicles is not something that we imagined that would happen. We had a few weeks of a lot of deep conversations and very profound questions, and it wasn't an easy journey, it wasn't an easy decision, but I'm glad we've gone through it, and I feel we are in a much stronger place individually, as a couple, as travelers. It feels like this vehicle is the right one for us.
Yeah, I think it's probably just worth saying for those of you watching who haven't been on the journey since the start, we started in a different vehicle, we started in a van for a whole host of reasons, but we just realised for us that wasn't working, and we made the difficult decision to go back to the UK, change the vehicle and go again. I think you're right, it's probably been the most challenging moment or period so far.
How is it being together 24/7? Do you get any me time?
It's brilliant, 24/7.
Liar.
Our life since we've been together, we've been quite close quite a lot of the time, been used to spending a lot of time together. I think being in a small box in a vehicle, that intensifies. For me, photography has been a good me moment, you know, getting up for sunrise photography that maybe Mon doesn't want to get up for, which is completely understandable. But that's a very introspective moment for me, and it gives me a lot of me time.
I think in the beginning I was working a bit more than Cliff, so I think that I naturally gave him a lot of opportunities for me time. I feel that that was something that I personally missed a lot, especially in the beginning, because it was either the time we were spending together or the time I was working. So now I feel I'm getting to a better balance. I'm carving time for myself, and I feel that we are also getting better in reading each other when the other one needs a bit of a me time or a break or a bubble. When you are living in the same place, you have those moments, you have your own space, even if you go to a different room inside the same house. Of course, we don't have that, especially when the weather is not great and we are inside the vehicle. But I think we are getting better in identifying that, and yeah, it feels more natural now. Is there anything you thought that was needed and over time you realize that it's not at all?
So I've been a rock climber for many, many years, more than half my life, and that's such a big part of my identity. We brought a lot of gear with us, trying to convince Mon that climbing is the best sport in the world. Still working on that. But I guess a long way of saying we've brought a lot of climbing gear, we haven't used it yet, and I think it's partly because we're having adventure in so many other ways outside of that sport. That's probably not needed so much. But outside of that, I think we've both travelled so much in the past. We had a good idea of what we needed and knew we didn't need a lot of stuff. So no, not really, I don't think.
Yeah, just important to say, I do think that climbing is awesome. I think it's an important statement. It's not that I question climbing, it's just my ability to do it is different. I don't think we have more than what we need. Maybe a hairdryer, but no, not really.
Do you meet other overlanders along the way?
I think it was one of the expectations that we will meet lots of travelers, but we came to the realization that this type of traveling, you do get a lot of freedom and you get to places that are pretty magical, but that freedom and that privacy comes with some level of isolation. The more remote and cool places we find, it's often just us. So the consequence is that we don't get to meet many other people in the places we park. But we've been very lucky to meet other people traveling in very different ways. I think it's less than what we imagine, but it's been really amazing, and we met very, very nice people on the way.
Yeah, I think my only add to that would be, and people who've backpacked will recognise this, when you do that, the intensity of the relationship that you build with people while you travel is really great, and I think that's only greater when you're overlanding. So I feel the people we have met, we formed some really strong relationships with, and I think that's just the nature of more isolated travel.
I think it's lovely how those connections, they feel like they are intense in the moment, but they also last. Like we are still in touch with people that we met traveling, and maybe we spend just an afternoon together. It just feels that you create that bonding that is not only in the moment. We are still in touch with some of them, and it's just very nice. And hopefully we'll get to meet them again somewhere at some point. Why are you doing this?
That is probably a video all on its own. I think one of the big things for me is I lost my dad when I was in my early 20s, and he had planned to use his retirement to travel a lot. He never did, and I think that was a big kick up the arse to go, well, if you want to do it, go and do it. But I think also I've just always been inspired by people who travel and travel differently. I remember watching a YouTube video, I can't remember the name of it. He travelled to always try and feel like he was extending his life, because I think that idea of routine is the enemy of time. You get into a routine, you get into habits, and time really flies. And you know, we go to different countries and we've got to work out how we do laundry, or how the world works in this place, and the different habits of that culture, and just seeing different things. It's like being a kid all over again. I want to be 80 and be absolutely exhausted of life, because I've done so much with it.
I agree. Well, that's the reason why we're doing this together. It's just so nice when we talk to people that are older than us and they see what we are doing, or we tell them what we are doing. The agreement, the acknowledgement is just so reassuring. Like, they do get it. They just know that it's like, just go out there and do it, because life goes by so fast.
It's not that it's about traveling, it's about doing what you want with life. Yeah. And I think they get that it's important for us to do that, and it's go and do it. Don't look back with regret. And that might be different for different people. Yeah,
no, absolutely. There is a book called Die with Zero. We always juggle between three things. It's about having the money, it's about having the time, and it's about having the energy/health. And you will never tick all three boxes. So it's just a matter of understanding what is the most important thing for you now. And for us now, it is about living this. And we know we are trading off other things. There are massive compromises. It doesn't come easy. But now the equation feels right by doing this. When did you decide? What triggered this?
I don't know, for me there was a particular trigger. I've always had wandering feet, I've always wanted to explore the world. This isn't my first nomadic trip across the world, or part of the world. So yeah, for me I think it's something of my identity.
I second that. I think I've always found in traveling kind of my happy place, the happiest version of me. For a few years I had in my mind that I wanted to travel and do something more longer term. I think that the biggest trigger for us, we already had few conversations since the beginning of the relationship, but a couple of years ago we are in Turkey, we are in Cappadocia, and we met this amazing couple, one of those people that we met traveling, Adam and Michelle, and they were traveling on motorbikes, quite different what we're doing, but we spent a day with them, and something clicked that day. I remember that after spending some few hours with them, we were having breakfast and we started talking about what could be right for us. We even talked about motorbikes, and very quickly we realized that that wasn't the right way.
Sorry, Adam.
Yeah, sorry. That was definitely the biggest trigger. Something clicked, and we just knew that there was something coming for us. And why overlanding versus other ways of traveling?
I've travelled in other ways. I've done the backpacking thing, and I think I really wanted a different challenge. And I think vehicle-dependent travel, the maintenance of keeping that vehicle, your home on wheels going, is part of that. Getting to more remote places, being in nature. Backpacking's amazing, but you are kind of tied to transport links and city hubs, and being able to get out into the middle of nowhere like we are right now and see, spend a night under the stars. There's something really special about that.
You know that's one of my favorite moments in the evening, very random to say, doing my teeth outside looking at the stars. I just love that. I was very open to any way of traveling. I traveled different ways. I backpacked, but never for this long. And as we started talking about it and we started researching and trying to find our way, it just felt very right. Our life stage, our lifestyle, it just felt really nice having everything we need with us and moving our home, feeling that we have a home. For me, it's about traveling, not really how we travel.
But I think, and that's interesting, because I think it's not just the why you travel, but the how you travel has a big impact on that experience as well. And I think we've learned that through this experience.
When you travel in a way that you need to pack and unpack all the time, you get that pace of traveling. Whereas here, it's more about organizing our home than packing bags. So you get a different rhythm of traveling as well.
What's your family's reaction to what you're doing?
Talking about traveling has always been part of me, so it wasn't a surprise at all. They always knew that I wanted to go traveling. What came as a surprise was overlanding and living in a vehicle. That was somehow a shock, very different to the way I grew up. They only really got it when they saw the vehicle.
I don't have much to add. I think my family, not surprised at all. This isn't the first time, and probably won't be the last. So yeah, just not surprised.
It's really nice that we are doing the videos and sharing this type of content, because we are sharing that with our families and friends. And it's just so nice week after week getting the comments, how much they are loving seeing it and feeling that they are traveling with us, bringing people along the journey with us, which is magical.
And I think it's lovely to see the friends we're making as well, like, everybody who's watching and liking and commenting and supporting. It's it's really touching, in some way inspiring, or hopefully inspiring you guys to maybe travel or do something a bit different as well.
Yeah, keep sharing your comments. They are very
they warm our hearts on cold days.
Yeah, they do put a smile on our faces. It's true.
What's your biggest inspiration for the journey?
I think it's about people that go out there and do what they feel is right for them. It's not only about traveling. I think it's about listening to yourself and just finding your way of living, understanding that there is not necessarily a checklist. You don't need to do certain things at certain points in your life.
There's people we follow, and I think people that inspire us, but I don't think it's about an individual or individuals. I think it is that idea of life doesn't have to look like the life you thought you'd have when you were a kid. And I think it's about recognizing what you want and need out of life and going and grabbing it.
A big part of inspiration is traveling on its own. There are nuggets of inspiration every day. And for me, there is also Cliff as a massive source of inspiration. He's so
on it, and he's always doing things. He's restless, which can be tiring sometimes, but it's also very special because it just motivates me to do more, to see more things, not to be lazy, to wake up early, to find ways of keeping busy and seeing more, living more, experiencing more. Yeah, it's just, thank you. I love him.
You're welcome. And yeah, we had kind of talked about what we were going to say in some of these answers, and that wasn't part of it, so that's come as a bit of a shock. Thanks for watching. I hope that's been interesting and insightful, and thank you all again for so many great questions. If it's inspired more questions, shoot them over, and we'll maybe do another one of these at some point in the future.
And if what we are doing inspires you in any way to do whatever it is, traveling or not, share with us. It's really nice to know that this is being magical not only for us, but somehow it is triggering and inspiring and impacting people as well.
So yeah, thanks for watching. Just to say, normal service will resume next week, where we will be exploring Kosovo and Macedonia. Bye.
Thank you.
Action. Just go out there and listen to yourself and live your life at fullest, and it's just one life, so make it worth it.